Hey there, Guardians. Hope you guys are doing well, and welcome to Destiny 2 Oversimplified, the channel for new and returning players. Today, we're going to be taking a look at Sunbreaker, which is the Solar Titan subclass. I'm going to be talking about the 2 available supers, all of the abilities, the 3 aspects, and then I'll cover a bunch of exotics that work really well with the subclass. So we're going to start with the supers. So the first one is Burning Maul. This is a roaming super where you roam around the battlefield to do abilities. So you're going to have a light attack where you can spin the maul in a circle, and then you have a heavy attack where you slam the maul to the ground. So it looks like this: light attack, heavy attack. This one is more used in PvP in the Crucible, but it does have an exotic that works really well with it for PvE against computer combatants. Next we have Hammer of Soul, which is another roaming super. You activate it and then you can throw hammers at your enemies. There's only one ability for this. Light and heavy both throw hammers. And then I'll get to these on the aspects, but they leave behind sunspots if you have the right aspect equipped. This one is typically the one you're going to want to use for a lot of non-competitive content. For the Titan class ability on Solar, we have our 2 standard options: Towering Barricade for more defense, or Rally Barricade for more offense. You have your standard 3 movement abilities. I recommend High Lift or Catapult Lift and not Strafe Lift. You have 2 melees for Solar Titan. The first one is Hammer Strike. After sprinting for a short time, you can use the melee ability to swing a blazing hammer that scorches your target and deals damage in a cone behind them. As a reminder, anytime you see terms such as Scorch or Ignition that are on the subclass that you're using, you can look on the left and they'll describe what they do. So for this one, you have to sprint for a short time, and then you activate it. If you don't hit anything, it only uses 10% of your ability energy. So the next melee ability is Throwing Hammer, where you throw a hammer, and if the hammer struck a target, picking it up grants Cure, which heals you in a burst of light. It looks like this. Both of these melees are viable, so it's just preference on which one you want to use. For grenades, I only recommend 3. So Solar Grenade is used for general purposes, Healing Grenade for defensive, and Fusion Grenade has a specific exotic that's tied into it. Your first aspect is Roaring Flames, which states final blows with solar abilities or ignitions increase the damage of your solar abilities, and this stacks 3 times. So I'm going to get some grenade kills, and you see I killed more than 3 enemies, so I have Roaring Flames times 3. So this will just increase the damage of my solar abilities. And that works with super as well. Every time you get a kill, it refreshes the timer. The next aspect that we have is Soul Invictus. So it states solar ability final blows, Hammer of Soul impacts, and defeating scorched targets creates sunspots. Your abilities regenerate faster and your super drains more slowly while standing in a sunspot. Sunspots also apply scorch and deal damage to targets inside. Entering a sunspot applies restoration. So a lot of writing on that. All it's basically telling you is anything solar related, whether it's an ability kill, a super kill, or using a weapon that can scorch enemies, they're going to create a sunspot, and when you stand in the sunspot, it does damage and also gives you restoration, which is a healing over time effect. So for this, I'm going to test it out with my super. It also spawned a sunspot when I first popped my super, and then I'm going to get a kill, and now I'm in a sunspot. And I pretty much cannot die in here while I have restoration. It also works with abilities, so I'm going to get a grenade kill here, and it leaves behind a sunspot. See, it's very difficult to kill me while I'm in the sunspot. The last aspect we have is Consecration. So this one states while sliding, you can activate your charge melee ability to launch a wave of solar energy forward, damaging and scorching targets in front of you as you leap into the air. While airborne, you can activate your charge melee again to slam to the ground and create a second larger wave of damaging solar energy. If the wave hits a scorched target, they ignite. So I'm going to sprint for a short duration, slide, activate again to slam. This one is super good for ad clear. Alright, moving on to exotics. So the first one we have is Kepri's Horn, which states solar final blows, recharge your barricade, which unleashes a blast of solar energy that scorches target when summoned. So this one's pretty simple. Any solar final blows, so that could be a weapon with solar or your ability such as melee grenade or even your super. So to show it off, I'm going to use my barricade. I'm using a solar weapon, and I'm going to get some kills. And you see I already have 50% of my barricade back. Next up we have Lorelei Splendor Helm. So this one is all about safety and healing. It states while you have a solar super equipped, so you can use this on Solar Titan or Prismatic. Casting your barricade or becoming critically wounded with full class ability energy creates a sunspot at your location. If you remember, sunspot does multiple different things, such as applying scorch and dealing damage to targets inside and applying restoration to you. So I'm going to cast my barricade, and I created a sunspot, which gave me restoration. Next up, we have Ashen Weight. So these are exotic arms. So these will improve your fusion grenades, which is why I recommend fusion grenades if you're using this exotic. And it states fusion grenades gain increased throw speed, explode on impact, and stun unstoppable champions. Also, final blows with fusion grenades grant grenade energy. So if you like using fusions, then Ashen Wake could be a good combo. Next up is Pyro Gale Gauntlets. So this will modify your Burning Maul super into a single high damage slam that creates several cyclones of flame. Consecration Second Slam also creates a cycle of flame. So I'm gonna use my Burning Maul, use my ability, and I can only use it once, but it does a ton of damage. So this is super good for boss damage. Next up, we have the exotic chest piece. So this is Hallowfire Heart. Solar final blows while standing in a sunspot, create a sunspot. And then the most important part of this is greatly improves recharge rate of your melee and grenade while your super solar is charged. And then also at the end provides a small benefit to the airborne effectiveness stat of all weapons. So you see my super is charged and I have Sunfire Furnace on the left. If I use my grenade and my melee, they are charging at a faster rate. And then if I use my super, they will not charge at that faster rate. Next up, we have Phoenix Cradle. So if you like using sunspots, this could be a good one for you. It states Soul Invictus lasts twice as long, and then allies who pass through your sunspot are granted Soul Invictus and Solar Restoration. So if you like being a team player and also using sunspots, then this is a good buff for them. Next are another pair of legs, the Path of Burning Steps. So this states Solar Final Blows periodically grant you an escalating bonus to weapon damage, and Solar Grenade Final Blows grant you the highest bonus. You're harder to freeze or slow with stasis, and when you break out, you take no damage from doing so, getting a burst of solar energy around you. So if you just want a passive exotic that works while you do your normal things, such as using a solar weapon or using solar grenades to get kills, then this could be a good one. Lastly, we have Peregrine Greaves, and if you think this one is familiar, that's because I've used it in a couple different videos, because it works with multiple subclasses. Specifically, we're going to be taking advantage of Hammer Strike, which is Solar Titan, and you deal a lot of damage when activated in the air. Damaging mini bosses, tormentors, or champions with their shoulder charge refunds your melee. So I'm going to start sprinting, go airborne, and then I have Peregrine Strike in the air. So yeah, that's it for Solar Titan. It's a really good class. There's a lot of healing you can do and a lot of damage as well. A lot of supporting your allies. We talked about the 2 supers, the abilities, 3 aspects, and then some exotics that work really well with the class. If you have any questions or need any assistance with making a Solar Titan build, just let me know in the comments. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. See you later.